old heads versus young heads.
Damn.
So, how should I approach this?
As honest as you can.
So, I used to be one of those individuals where I wouldn't give the young heads a chance in terms of listening to newer hip hop. But I remember this particularly when we interviewed Johnny Bars, and this is not word from word, but he said like, no, we're not giving the young heads a chance because the old heads tend to put them in a category like where they're considered like, mediocre, and that's not the case. There's out of that pile, there's a lot of talent in there, and that had just hearing Johnny said that made me reanalyze myself and just look at certain MCs that I didn't give a chance at the time. Like example was Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. When the album first came out, like I didn't even give it a listen or a try, except for a couple tracks that I felt. And after To Pimp a Butterfly came out, like that was the album that I rocked with. And after that stage where I listened it to death and played it to death, I decided to give Mad City a second chance. And after listening to it, it's a real solid album, especially from storytelling to concept. So that
real good album.
Yeah. So after I like realized that, I was like, no, that was just a harsh judgment on my part. Like I shouldn't jumped the gun on that aspect. It's like as far as like just giving people, the younger heads, a chance. And then just from hearing stories from other artists, like just the old heads can be brutal too. They can be just brutal where it's like, come on, it's like, well, you're judging the young heads for this, but are you teaching them? Are you guiding them? If not, then honestly, you need to keep your mouth shut, and just pave the way for the younger heads. And if you want to pass on that knowledge, then you need to teach these young heads, because there's actually been some of the young heads that actually say like, yo, we're looking for that knowledge to get passed down, but a lot of these old heads, they're not giving us a chance. So I don't know, like, what are you guys' your thoughts on that, or do you agree, or?
I agree, like with what Johnny said, because I've talked to Johnny about that too, where it was just like people aren't like, I was the same way, not willing to give things a new listen, but then I have like friends that listen to the new artists, so I hear it a lot more, and then I'm like, you know what? There's some good stuff in here.
Right.
There's great stuff in here, and then I was like, some of it, I was like, the stuff that gets thrown out to the media is usually like the stuff that's not
The
too
bad
good.
stuff.
That's the stuff that everyone gets thrown in that category. But there's stuff, if you actually look, like there's some decent stuff. There's some art in there for sure. It's just they're like you said, they're looking for the guidance. Some of them just started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're looking for it, and yeah, if you're not gonna guide the youth, then don't complain about what the youth's doing. For sure, like that.
I had to.
Yeah, man. What do you think?
I agree. It took me a while to like listen to a few of the artists, the next wave or whatever you want to call it, and it some of it, like I agree with you, it's not the greatest, but some of it you could hear the development. You see potential, but then that's just with everybody else too. So it's like as we get older too, especially how do we just guide them? I think we can't belittle them all the times. I mean, because then we're going to discourage them. More importantly, it's going to hold resentment towards people who are older.
Oh, right.
And I think if we do that, we won't leave a legacy for them to follow or to make them. We won't separate. We're no different than people before us at that point, because we're going to belittle and tell them they're not doing a good job of it. And the reality is, like you said, they're brand new to this. And you can't get upset. I tell everybody, you can't get upset for a young person realizing that there's a new day and age where the trend And if you write the trend, you could maybe survive it, or you may die with the trend. But some of them just develop it into it, and they get a following, and it's like, hey, you can't get mad at that. They figured it out their way, their path, and I think that's great. And it's different these days, you know, like technology, social media, it all comes together because it's like a new formula. And I think that's one thing a lot of older heads won't understand or won't give time to comprehend, because you didn't have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
People had to sell mixtapes out of their truck and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now you can just stream it.
Yeah.
Get the whole world will be exposed to you.
Yeah. There's like there's like a lot of, it's like this guy named like Supreme Patty, like going on Instagram, and I like going on Instagram watching like the guys who are like relevant and like who's on the main, because Instagram tells you like what your the algorithms of Instagram. Like you'll see mine is always like a lot of music. I'm assuming yours would be music too. All of us, I think, art or form or another.
And you can also follow certain tags or hashtags, and it will just cater to your
to what you're used to. Then now we see a lot of the young generation just doing some, and I don't want to say outlandish, but it's some intense stuff where I'm just like, damn. And you see why a lot of kids are rocking with that, because it's just a wave of like some young, reckless teenagers, and a lot of us are over here like belittling it, but they're like, damn, how do we improve that?
right.
How do we take somebody that we know we need to help, but we don't know how to help them because there's no communication, there's no engagement. It's interesting.
Like there's a detachment in a sense.
There's a big detachment.
Like I don't know why, but like just I don't know if they're like afraid to approach them. Like I mean, it shouldn't be, but it's like it's something that I also observe as like it's easy for them, to keyboard or write, behind a computer screen. But when it comes to like just face to face, it's almost like they're
so
like some are like afraid to have that discussion.
We're socially antisocial because we're socially social on Instagram. But face to face, it's like, and that's going to be the interesting part. Like I see, it's like going spots and you just see everybody just like on their phones. I mean, it's a way of communication these days, and it's just like a lot of I'm 26, so I think that's when like social media really, when I was like 14, 15, 16, when social media really started like making a big presence in my life with Twitter, Facebook,
like 2010-ish.
then Instagram really. But I think Instagram like the past 3 to 4 years really started.
It's been crazy.
It's been a crazy like the trend from the timetable of 10 years ago to where we're at now. It's like we went from Twitter, we went like MySpace, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and now we're starting to see like everything just all over the place. It said like you can't. I think, how does the old head communicate with the young head on how to do other things? Yes, I don't know. What are you talking about?
So, I mean, and what's also interesting too is like a lot of these old heads don't realize too is like they were young then too. Like they tend to forget that. I mean, they didn't start off that way. They evolved to their current frame. So I feel some of these old heads, not to bash on the old heads, they're just jumping the gun and they forget that they weren't so squeaky clean when they started off that way. So I mean, that's something that I observed and what intrigued me as like, well, don't forget, And it's like I heard a verse from J. Cole's, I believe it's from his new album. He said like, give me a chance. I was 20 something at that time.
Yeah.
You gotta give a chance for a boy to grow. Yeah, that's what he says in 1985. So yeah, I think I remember one time there was an open mic in LA, and I think it was a hip hop event, but this was like a 30, 40-year-old guy. So it was like hip hop. I mean, it was hip. Yeah. So you could tell, like you walk in, like you was like, damn, like I'm really that. I don't feel like I don't belong,
Like you're out of place.
I'm out of place, but yet my I like you guys. I like the music. I like everything, but I do not belong in this circle. I'm the outcast. Mm-hmm. And then you not hostility, but you sense a disconnection of
And people's vibes.
The way they talk, the everything's just different. It's a different vibe. It's a different generation. It's a lot. So it's like, how do we he's enjoying the air conditioner. I feel you. It hit at the right moment. It hit right now. I was like, okay, we're getting sweaty and it hit. I feel like hip hop music, I think not even just so much of hip hop, I think everything would evolve if there was a medium between the two, because how does one learn if no one's willing to teach? And I think that's what's going on, especially this day and age. No one's willing to, or maybe no one's willing to listen either.
Right.
A mixture of both.
Yeah, and that's another fact. It's like you said, it is a mixture of both. Like a lot of people, there's some people that are hot-headed that think they know everything, which they don't. But I mean, I can't particularly narrow down a situation, but I have witnessed it before. I mean, I'm sure. Some of you have seen it before in situations where it's like, man.
It's the ego.
The ego, yeah.
I've seen it a lot. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. With everything, I just say, let the shit that's not evolving, just let it die off. Just wait for it to die off, and things will work how they're supposed to work. Everyone's always, but the thing is, there's always going to be an old head saying that the new shit isn't good. It's been since
anything.
Yeah, with anything,
everything.
it's like, oh, back in my day, my cartoons were better. Like, it's like, I get it. Like everyone's always going to say something, so you just got to just take some of that with a grain of salt. It's hard for like the young heads in hip hop because they're just constantly getting bashed. But like, just take it and go on with it. Keep doing your thing. There's a reason they're even mentioning you. They know who you are. So just keep doing your thing. Evolve. That's it.
You're either you're good enough to be talked about or not good enough to be talked about. Either way, you're still being talked about.
You're still being talked about.
And I think that's more important. Yeah, you're being talked about.